Good morning, Ukiah, and welcome to Word on the Street. Every Saturday we go talk to homeless people, travelers, and see what's going on out there. So thanks for tuning in. And today got a really nice fella named Lenny in the house. Met him down at Walmart this morning, and he's freshly homeless, houseless, totally by choice. He's having a fun time. Summer's here. I don't know. We're going to hear his whole story. Lenny wants to start us off with some thoughts about time, I believe. So let's just jump into that and see how that goes. Lenny, welcome and thanks so much for
no problem.
coming and say hi.
Well, one of the biggest things that I just saw whenever you were running to get water for me and you for the show, is how much emphasis we put on time and how much it hasn't affected me since I decided to do this. That's also one of the biggest reasons why I'm happy out here is because I don't have to worry about time so much.
Oh.
I can stop and talk to this person on the side of the street that I just met. I can sit there and have a conversation with them because I'm not, I only have, 20 minutes to get back to work, or I only have, a half-hour lunch break from, in between classes. I don't have this or that I have to run off to get to. This is my life, so, I'm going to talk to every person I can. It's just, that's really it. I was just saying how much time is, dissipated since I've been out here.
Yeah, that's a really, I can dig that. Actually, it's kind of ironic. I was homeless this winter for a couple months, and homeless in quotes, because I wasn't in the bushes or at the Buddy Eller Center, but I didn't have a home. I didn't have my own home.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I noticed the same thing.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, I was at my sister's for a spell.
Yeah.
And she had these big wooden spoons. And I'm like, these spoons, they're too big, And I got my knife out and started to make them a little bit nicer. And I sat there all morning in the sun watching the kids run around. I'm like, I never do this. I never have time to sit and whittle on a wooden spoon and enjoy. I'm thinking, my hand's all sore because I'm using this Leatherman, this like pliers thing. And I'm like, maybe I should get that whittling knife I saw. It's like $15. It's made for this, It's like for people who are really into it. But now I bought a house. I'm not whittling anymore. So my time is definitely back into normal. But that's a cool observation that you make. That's interesting. I've never had anybody really make a note of that.
It's only normal because we view time as a straight line. It's not at all. Time's not straight.
No?
No. Time's not straight at all. Time curls and curves, and we just see it as a straight line because that's all we can see it as. That's what I feel anyways. That's the only way we can view it right now.
Yeah, and still get to work on time.
No, just period. As human beings, that's all we can. As human beings in the third dimension, what we're viewing right now, everything that we're seeing, we can only see time as, here to here to here to here to here.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just points in your own life.
Yeah, Heinlein, Robert Heinlein wrote a science fiction book that was based from the perspective of these aliens that had people in a zoo at their planet. And they're like, yeah, you guys are weird. You guys can't view time, like all of time. You're stuck in like a train with a tube. Then you're just going down the tracks like this.
Yeah. It seems like a cool book.
He's like, we already know that, it's fun, science fiction. So, so getting back to life on the street, it's 2012. You're 26?
25.
25 years old.
About to be 26 on the 31st.
Okay.
This month.
And you were cooking at the Hard Rock Cafe in Pittsburgh and had an apartment and
well, I was living with a couple friends, but I mean.
And you've been homeless for how long?
I went to LA on March 14th, and yeah, since then.
So you've been homeless for a couple months.
Yeah, a few months.
And you totally chose this.
Yeah.
You didn't. Yeah. You
Yeah,
didn't have
definitely
some
chose it.
traumatic experience, and you're one guy. I was like, "Why are you homeless?" He's like, "Cause my girlfriend blew up my house." You know. So you took a look at your life. Well, just tell the story. Like,
Okay,
how
I
did
don't
that
know.
decision happen?
How the decision really happened was I'd been talking to my friend Liza, and I was telling her about this trip I was gonna make to LA. I was gonna come out here to see a friend and take a week off of work and then go back. And she was like, "Well, why don't you just come travel with me? I'm gonna be hitting the road here soon, and we could try and make it out to LA." And I was like, "Well," I was like, "No, I kind of need to make it there by a specific date, because she has job and she's gonna be getting into school, and this is like the perfect time to go, stay with her for a week and chill out." And she was like, "Okay, well, you can if you want." I was like, "Okay," and didn't really give it much thought. Went and did whatever for the next few days, and I was at home one day, and I took mushrooms by myself because I had like a little bit left, and I was like, "There's nobody else here. There's nothing to do. Fuck it, why not?" And I did that. I ended up watching after an incredible like hour-long shower, which was awesome. Where was I at? Oh, okay. Yeah, I got out of there, and I put on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is an awesome movie. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I just have this thought, like, what am I really doing? I'm not really happy in this position. Like, I know I'm only working to get money to, do whatever, to have fun with friends. Like, this isn't really helping anybody or, doing anything for the world. Like, I mean, it's doing stuff for my friends. I'm helping them. I'm talking to them. I'm, helping them get through problems. But it's only limited to this group of friends.
In this like, living room.
Or in this, no, it's my whole group of friends. It's
okay.
Like, I don't know, there's like 10 people, I guess, back east that I talk to on a regular basis and help through problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why can't I be doing this for the rest of the world? Why can't I just go out there and start experiencing, life, how it's supposed to be, and instead of being trapped in this little box? I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there. Fuck it. I'm going to give my job...
Oh, language was key.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I'm going to give my job a, 2 weeks notice and go out there. So that's what I did.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's been a couple months.
Yeah.
Time has changed. Your ability to connect with people has been enhanced. Is that what I'm hearing from your time? Like, you're able to have a conversation with whoever you want for as long as you want.
No, it all depends on the person that I'm having a conversation with, because a lot of people that I go up to, it's just pretty much for me having the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've come across many people that in my own experiences where I wanted to stay and have a conversation with that person, but I couldn't because I had to get to someplace.
Right.
I had 5 minutes to get to work, and it was a 7-minute walk.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't stop and talk to this person.
Right. So you're now on the other side. You're enjoying it.
Yeah.
The last couple months have treated you well.
Very well. Like I can stop and talk to people. I can, if I just want to sit down and not move for an hour, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I want to, hike up and across town just for the fun of it, I can do that.
Yeah. So tell me, kind of paint the picture of your background for a moment. We'll go back into your past and just describe a little bit like year 0 through 10.
Okay.
You know, what was your family like, and brothers and sisters, and how difficult or fun or not was it?
0 through 10. 0 through 10 was an interesting time. That was I was being raised by my dad and my mom until like age like 6, and then
Can you get this, Micah? Sorry.
no, you're good. And then my dad and mom got divorced, and she was going in and out of jail because of this check fraud thing that she wrote a check in somebody else's name or something, and she went to jail for it. And so she wasn't around very much, but it was my dad, and he had a lot of friends over, like a lot. He was into like partying, but not that much, because my grandpap was still around. Now my grandpap died at 8, or whenever I was 8.
Yep.
And so that just completely changed my dad, and he went from holding his self-image to completely off the rails, just doing his drug of choice, coke, all the time, mainly mainlining it, and yeah, it was pretty bad. That and crack, that's what he loved.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Now, did he do that because he was real upset and grieved about Pappy?
That's definitely part of it, but
another part of it is just Pappy was just holding him in check.
Well, yeah, I guess he just wanted he didn't want to fall too far off, and have his dad see him like that. So he was like, "Oh, I can do it now. I don't care."
Yeah. And
pretty much just did that and was sorry all the time, like about how he was in front of me, and like
had guilt about it.
Yeah, but I mean.
But he was also a raging funster too. If he's have a bunch of friends over and they're all doing that kind of.
It wasn't very fun.
No.
Like no. It was pretty much just and he liked to deny it, like pretty much deny that I even knew about it. Like he would just think that I didn't know anything about the situation, that I thought that he was just talking with friends. Like meanwhile I'm 12, 13, 14, getting older, and it's like I know what's happening, man. Like, but yeah,
So they would get together and do all these really hard,
yeah,
pretty hard drugs, and they just sit around and talk all day?
No, he would just stay locked in his room with 2 or 3 people, and 1 or 2 people would come out, 2 or 3 people would go in, or 1 or 2 people would go in, and it would just be a random assortment of people going in and out as he stayed in the room.
Wow, that's very unusual and kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 12, 13, 14 in an environment like this.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you can't really tell
everything's
normal to you.
Yeah.
Well, everything's normal to you because you're just a kid. You don't have anything to compare it to. But was that hard for you, or was it difficult or disturbing, or was
it definitely wasn't normal. Like I knew like how it was before then. It's like I could definitely tell that something was off, and something, I could definitely tell what was going on pretty much. And like I'd gone in and out of foster care. I was in like 2 different foster homes, and then like eventually at like 15, I think, I was like, I just want to be with my dad. Like I don't care. And he would get clean every so often, and like stay clean for like a month or so, and then fall back off. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I just dealt with it, I guess.
So, okay, so how about 15?
It made me feel like I felt sad that he was doing this, but then I don't know. I also like the excitement, what is it? He wasn't there to discipline me, so I liked being able to be myself. Like I don't have to adhere to his rules because he's in his room doing his own thing, so I can sit out here and smoke cigarettes and nobody cares. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But I mean, I don't know. I learned. So I mean, I don't look bad on it. Like I don't look down on him for what he did. He had his own problems. He was his own person. It's bad. He died like 2004. So yeah, about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad died around that time.
Yeah.
Complications from partying.
Yeah, his was I think the actual cause was a lethal mix of Vicodin and cocaine, which I think the person that he got it from must have cut the cocaine with Vicodin or something, and like he shot it and it was the wrong amount or something.
Done.
Yeah.
Was that really upsetting to you, or a shock, or were you kind of waiting?
No, it was really upsetting. I don't know. That's pretty much whenever it shot my life in another direction. Because I could have, I don't know, I could have went one way with it. I could have like kept on down the road that I was on, and it was like, I could have sold coke, sold crack, done all that. I would have never smoked it. I still had a level head. Like, I might be in jail right now or something like that. But I don't know. I could have went down that road, or I could have went down the road I went down, which is like, oh, I gotta do something. I just freaked out and was like, oh, I gotta, I don't know, go to school, because that's what people do, right? And then I went to college, and they told us, they were like, whenever I signed up and everything, they were like, well, if you start going to this school, you're gonna owe this much money. Da, da, da. I was like, all right, and I started going into it, and like, I don't know, a month or so into school, I'm just like, I don't really know anything about any of this. Like, I have no experience in this field of work and cooking, culinary. I've no experience in it. I don't know what I'm doing. And like, what did I do? And pretty much, I just ended up, it was a very confusing time while I was in school, because I was just dealing with that still, and I thought I was over it, because you always think you're over something more quicker than you are.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a very confusing time, and then after that, I started meeting, I would say like right after I got out of school, maybe like, I don't know, maybe half a year to a year later, I started meeting all the friends that I have now, which are just a completely different group of people that help me see things a lot more clear than I had been, because I'd been just, all right, what do I do? Yeah, just questioning everything. Like, okay, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to be doing this? What am I supposed to be doing? And then they're like, hey, dude, just be you. And it's like, oh, I'm just supposed to be me. All right, I can do that.
It's harder than it seems, though. That's good if you're able to. I think a lot of people.
It's as hard as you make it, really.
Yeah. So, your dad, okay, I kind of want to get into this a little bit more.
Yeah,
it was a crazy party situation, and you understood a lot of things were not quite right.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't sound like you felt you weren't abused. You didn't have any
not
of
at
that.
all. My
and
dad
how about
loved me.
neglect? Because neglect can actually have some lasting effects on people too. But it sounds like, I don't know, you didn't really feel like that.
I didn't feel like it so much, because there were always people around that cared. Like, my dad always cared. Like, he would do whatever it is that I asked him to do, pretty much. Like,
okay.
I could ask him for whatever, and he'd be like, yeah, I'll get that for you.
A functional crack addict.
Yeah.
Who knew? Yeah.
He was, I don't know, he was my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he cared about me.
Yeah. Huh. So they swooped you up. The state swooped you up at one point.
Yeah, it was.
You got busted or you got in trouble, and then you went out of the family for a while.
Yeah.
How did that treat you? Was that kind of upsetting, or did you just kind of roll with that?
I kind of just rolled with it. I mean, the one foster home that I was in, it was. I think it was like 13 at the time, and it was like the only foster home that took kids that were older than like 12.
Right.
Because, you know, a lot of us were rambunctious, I guess, and, you know, come from whatever home, so they felt that they could act however they wanted. But, yeah, like, I don't know, it was a small little home. There was like 5 kids in it, and like one kid was the typical like bully type. One was just like chilled out type, and then 2 of them like I got along with pretty well, and we had made some fun together. But I don't know. So it was a weird point because this lady was she taught me a lot. She was pretty strict, but I mean, I guess she taught me a lot in hindsight. Like, I don't know. She taught me I couldn't just do whatever the hell I wanted, pretty much.
And you hadn't really had a lot of that at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. I could just be like, well, I'm going to do this. I know it's not going to kill me right now, so. But, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't really that long of a foster visit, and I don't really have too much to explain from it. It's like, yeah. I had a pretty traumatic time there once, though. Like, I don't know how. I think it was like a couple months in. The one bully kid like got together one of the other kids and decided to piss on me in my sleep. Yeah, that was pretty traumatic. That sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that, and I don't know.
Yeah. Survived it and didn't really get
Yeah, survived it. Went
out of
back with my dad eventually because he got clean, and I just was like, yeah, I want to go with my dad. I love my dad. I want to be with him.
So your mom is not back in the picture?
She's kind of in the picture now. Like, I talk to her every once in a while. She still has an addiction to crack, but I don't think it's as bad as it has been in the past. And, like, I don't know. She's been kind of in and out of jail for that and the check cashing thing that I was telling you about before. And, yeah, that's all. She was just pretty much in and out of jail. And, like, I never grew that big of a bond with her just because I hadn't seen her as much as my dad.
Even as a little kid, she wasn't around much to bond with.
I don't remember anything from like before like the age of like 5.
A lot of people don't.
And I only remember like 1 or 2 images from 5, and that's like being at an amusement park and seeing all the big lights, and like, yeah, that's the only really thing I remember. And she was gone at 6, so
yeah,
I don't remember anything really.
Yeah. Now you yourself say that you know, when your dad died, it shocked you into one direction, and it almost could have shocked you in another direction, but somehow.
No, it wouldn't have shocked me into another direction. It would have, if it wouldn't have shocked me as it did. Okay, I could have just been stagnant pretty much. I could have not been changing, not been, you know, bettering myself at all, not been hurting myself any more than I was, just stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
It just forced me into a change.
So you grew up in this pretty crazy party environment, I would say.
Yeah.
And pretty unstable and you know, definitely some potential for some trauma, although it seems like things were pretty all right despite all the crazy party thing. But you never, did you ever have a phase of hard partying when you were 18 or 16 or 20 or?
Not really. I mean,
because that's unusual.
I had the like month and a half, couple months that whenever I was 18, they gave me a credit card with a $3,000 limit.
And you just ran around and ate steak and got drunk?
No, ATM, fucking all the time.
Oh,
fucking
easy.
Got out the money, smoked weed and did mushrooms a lot. Like, yeah.
What's the difference between those drugs and the crack and cocaine thing? I mean, is there a difference, or does it matter? Do they all mess you up, or do you make a distinction of any kind?
It's pretty much just a mindset, however you feel about it, really. There's definitely, whenever you're doing like a psychedelic like mushrooms as opposed to like a stimulant like coke, you take the mushrooms, you usually, take whatever you have and have this crazy experience for however long it lasts for you, and then you go to sleep and you wake up the next day and you don't want more. You don't want this. You don't, need this or whatever. You on like coke, you kind of do it, and then you want more. You want more. You want more. You want more and more and more and more. And I think that, I don't know, some drugs cause you to want more, and some drugs help you see things clearer. And I also think it's also, it's all in your head. It's all in your mindset on whenever you're taking it.
I'm trying to get my head around this. It seems like you're a non-addictive personality or something. Like you've done this, you've gone and done, you grew up in this environment where you had access to these things or they were around you, and you've had your experience with these really addictive things like cocaine and stuff, and alcohol even, and you don't really party every day. You might have a party night, but you're not really attached or hooked in. I mean, what do you see out there on the street? Do you see?
There are some people that are alcoholics, and they're doing it because they have to drink every day, or they'll go through withdrawal and get sick. But the thing that I see most in people is that they just don't care. It's like it doesn't matter. And I mean, I can see their point, because it doesn't really matter if they're getting drunk every day. I mean, it's not really hurting anybody but themselves. And it's like, I see where they're coming from, but I also, I think it's deeper rooted than they just don't care about themselves. I think it's, in my eyes, it's just like they don't care because, look at our society. Look at the life we live. Like, I mean, why would you even want to be a part of that? Like, why would you want to be a part of I'm gonna, drive from here to here, park my car for, 8 hours while I'm at work, and then drive home, spend some time with family and friends, and then go to sleep, wake up and do it again. And then have my weekends off where I can do whatever I want. Woo! I mean, why would you want to adhere to that? I don't see the point. Like, it's a stagnant society.
Well, you get to accumulate more things over time.
Ooh, more things.
I mean, my plasma TV. Wait, I don't have a plasma TV.
Oh, well,
but when I get one, it's not going to be very big at first. And
but then it'll be bigger. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, why not? Whenever you're working for those 6 to 8 hours, why can't somebody else use the car that needs to use it to go there? And then somebody else drop off their car that you can use to get back home. And
well, it's because we can all afford to have our own cars.
Oh well, yeah, that's why.
That access to resources thing we're talking about.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, that definitely plays a part. Like I'm not saying that's the main thing, because the main thing is our mindset. That's all. That is the root of the problem right there. Is our mindset.
In what way?
Our mindset. We just need to change it as a whole, as a collective.
Huh?
If everybody, changed our mindsets, was like, we don't have to live like this. We can live in a free society if we want to. Then, boom, we can do it.
So you were describing like
there's tons of easy fixes, but yeah, go ahead.
You were describing that you had an apartment, and if you met somebody that needed a place to stay, come on in, sleep on the couch. Not a problem. And you say, people don't do that. Now, I myself don't do that.
Yeah.
Hardly at all. I do it every once in a while.
Yeah.
I met these European guys a couple years ago, but like I'm kind of scared of that. I got a little kid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that, I don't know, you're speaking of how nuclear we are in each little box, all set up only for those people.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what we were talking about earlier, yeah.
Yeah, and that you're seeing a world where we could help each other out more, and just...
That's part of it.
What are the other parts of it?
The main thing we have to do is just change our mindset. Change that mindset that we can't do this, that we can't help out other people because they might do this. Or we can't... Why not just, instead of, because I don't just let anybody into my house. I don't just be like, hey, you homeless? Come on. No, I talk to them. Get to know the person, I mean, this one chick that I let stay in my house for like a couple months, I wound up, needing a place to stay, and she has her own place in Pittsburgh, and I got to stay with her and her fiance for, however long I want. They were sad whenever I said I was going to come out here and do this trip. Like, I'm probably going to go back to Pittsburgh soon and, go stay with her again for a couple months, and or at least, have a place to stay right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you let people do things for you, or you do things for people, other people will do things for you, they'll do things for you in return, You don't have to worry about it. So it usually works out.
Excuse me. So I'm down there at Walmart this morning, and I see it all the time.
Yeah.
People handing each other money. I mean, sometimes it's because only one guy's allowed to buy.
Yeah, definitely.
But other times it's like, who's got a buck? Oh, I got a buck. And I just see that a lot. And
well, I did that for your sake too. This morning, whenever I gave him a $1 for, I was just showing you, like, look,
right,
this is how we operate. Because
right.
I mean, he needs a morning brew. That's what he wants. I got $1 in my pocket. There's nothing I'm doing with it right now. There you go.
You'll get another one later.
Yeah.
It's funny because I live in a box. I live in a house, and I don't have that relationship with my neighbors.
Yeah.
And out in the homeless community, you guys are all in the same living room together every morning, and everybody's like sharing food, and it's a different set of rules or a different code.
It's just
of
a different
ethics.
mindset.
Different mindset.
That's all it is. Just changing your mind to be like, oh, okay, I don't have to do this.
So you were kind of already in that mindset before you hit the street.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Months ago.
I'd been in this mindset for a while. It's just I finally chose to go out there and experience it more, because it's like, yeah, our friends always did that. We always, share as a community, and I was like, well, I mean, I think it's like that out there in the world. Oh, my stomach. I think it's like that out there in the world. Might as well go out and check. And I came out here, and same way. Nothing's different. It's community. It's family.
So how about the bad side of it? I mean, there's a lot of drinking, a lot of heavy substance use. There's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of mental instability bipolar anger things. There's a lot of violence and stuff like this. Also, on the other side of
the only real thing is, the only thing that I see out here is the same as anywhere else. They just, if they see somebody else as a they, as this person is not my family, then they'll be angry at that person or this person or whatever. But it doesn't really matter. It's the same as anybody else. Like, oh, this country is against our country, so we're gonna go attack them. Same thing.
Have you run into much of that or seen much scary stuff in the couple months that you've really been out in the bushes and on the roads?
No, not really. I mean, there's a couple experiences where, like, I'm not sure. Like, I just met this person yesterday. He seems like a cool dude, but he also freaked out on me once because he thought I was somebody else. So, I mean, now I'm in a hotel room with him and my road dog and somebody else that I hardly really know, but seems like a really cool dude. I don't know. I'm kind of sketched out. And, like, I don't know. I fell asleep, slept fine, woke up the next morning, everything was all right. It's like, okay, cool.
But you did get your bag ripped off a week ago.
Yeah, that happened because I left it. Yeah, I left it at a spot where somebody had saw where I put it. The chick that I don't know, I met once before, and I wasn't sure if they saw where I put it, and they found it and took it.
So the bag security is a big issue. Everybody brings it up.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
You got to put it on you.
Yeah,
and if you hide it, you can only hide it for 15 minutes.
One of my friends told me, the Liza, the chick that I was traveling with, she said, she was like, never abandon your pack. Somebody always told me that. And I was like, okay, sounds smart. But really, it's just stuff. And it doesn't really matter because, I mean, I had my bag taken, and, like, as I was walking the next day, somebody gave me a tent, and, like, as soon as it happened, somebody was like, here's a blanket, here's something.
Access to resources.
Yeah.
Even with the homeless traveling population.
Yeah, everybody has extra stuff because, they figure somebody else will need it.
So there's no shortage of blankets out there. Nobody freezes to death. Well, sometimes people do.
But we have an access. That brings up a good point, though. We have an access of stuff, but it's usually just so other people can have the stuff. It's just an access in case somebody needs it, and it's like it's there if somebody needs it, and we don't have to struggle to find it. And it's like, I don't know. It's a better type of community, I think, because nobody's doing without. And I mean, in the community that we live in, you say that you don't have that kind of type of community with your neighbors, but also your neighbors don't need anything. They already have everything, and so do you. Like, that's why it's not there anymore, because you guys are like, all right, we have what we need, but you don't go out of your way to help other people because you don't see them as family. You don't see them as your community.
Yeah, I mean, churches provide that function in our culture, a meeting place.
Yes, some do. I don't really know about churches that much. Like, I've been to a couple since I've been traveling, and yeah, they given me food. One church I got turned away because I was like a half hour late to get food or something, and I was like, really?
They had food, but they just wouldn't give it?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into it or anything. I don't care. But I mean.
Mm-hmm. So food's your biggest problem so far, or your biggest concern out there?
Oh, I mean, it's not really that much of a concern. It's just the only thing that I actually have to, that and a safe place to sleep. And the only thing, that's hard about finding a safe place to sleep, it's not about, worried about getting hurt or whatever. It's worried about getting woken up by the cops. That's really the only problem I've had with sleeping anywhere.
Because at 2:30 in the morning, when you're just starting to get some good sleep,
or whenever they decide. Yeah.
And so how's that go? Have you had that?
Oh yeah, I've been woken up to the cops a couple times. My friends laugh at me because I do they call it they call it the best friend approach. What I do is just I talk to the police like they're regular people because they are.
Right.
I just talk to them like they're regular people. Sometimes they choose to act like they're superior and like, no, I'm officer of the law. I cannot talk to you. You do what I say. And it's like, all right, whatever. Can't talk to you. And then I go on about whatever he's telling me to do. And all the while still trying to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just talk to people like this one officer in I think it was in Fort Bragg. We had gotten kicked off the beach because we were there, and he was telling us, he was really cool. We were telling him about all this, or he was telling us about all these like campgrounds around. And he was like, "There's just one like 3 miles outside of town or something like that, 3 or 4 miles outside of town." And it's free camping. You can camp there for like a week or something, but that's for each person. I was like, oh, cool. So we could stay there for a while, but we're not really trying to stay in one spot. But we're like, okay, and we leave. He leaves. Everything's all right. And then me and a couple friends decide to go sleep by these train tracks in the same town. And he comes up. There's this cliff up there, and he looks down there, and he was like, "All right, you guys are gonna have to get up. I don't want to have to come down there." And I was like, I look up, I'm like, "Hey, aren't you the same guy that we saw the other day?" And he was like, "Yeah, didn't I tell you about illegal camping?" I was like, yeah." And he's like, "Well, get out of here and tell that other camp that's down there to get going too. That's down the tracks." And it works. He wasn't an asshole. He was a nice guy. He was, hey, do what I say because you're not allowed to do this, and I have to do my job, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cop haters out there. But
oh yeah, no, definitely. That's one of the biggest things that I try to like tell people. It's like, hey, they're people too.
Yeah.
You just treat them like people.
Yeah.
Talk to them like you would anybody else, and it usually turns out all right. Like, I don't know.
So, you were cooking at this job, and you're like, what am I doing with the world and stuff? And now you're out in the world, and you're actually interacting with more people. Mm-hmm. And do you have any sense of like you're meeting people that have problems and you're helping them through it? Yeah,
definitely. Like I mean, I help people through problems, and they're helping me through mine too. Like, I mean, it's just interacting with people more, getting to know a wider range of people. Like, I mean, my one of my goals is to eventually know every single person in the world. I mean, it's a big goal, and I don't think it will really get accomplished. I mean, it could, but I mean, why not? Mm-hmm. I can't be like, hey, I know you. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. So you've just been on the street a couple months. You're having a great time. You really haven't gotten really scared or found yourself in a really difficult spot yet, in a tight rock and a hard place.
I don't know. It's all mindset, because I've been scared plenty of times. Like, just like, oh, what am I doing? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna get out of here? Especially in times of like hitchhiking, because whenever I started hitchhiking, I just left my my road dog and a couple other people that we were traveling with. We decided to split ways. She wanted to keep on going north. I wanted to go south. And we're like, okay, well, I love you. We'll see each other again sometime. So I started traveling south. I got a ride after a couple hours, then got a ride to the next town after like a half hour, and then I sat there on that road for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. Didn't get a ride. It gets really frustrating whenever you see people like with one person in the car, drive past, and it's like, you have so much room to fit me into your car, and just take me down the road.
Right. But people are scared.
Yeah, people are scared or whatever, and it gets really frustrating, and it's just like, oh, what am I gonna do? All right, well, I have to spend the night, and then I did that, and I got up the next morning. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna start hitchhiking out early. I'm gonna go out like 6 o'clock. I'll go out there. I go out there. It's like 6 o'clock. I wait out there for like 3 hours, no ride, and all that time it's just so frustrating. Like seeing same type of thing going by. Like tons of cars coming by that all of them aren't just going to the next exit. Like some of them are. Some of them are going to the next exit or the one after that, or just a little bit down the road, which is understandable. This is a better spot to be at to hitch out than that. But there's also a lot of people that you see that go past, and they're not just going.
I sat on the side of the road right in Santa Cruz, right on Highway 1.
Yeah.
For 5 hours one day.
Yeah.
With like.
It's ridiculous.
75 cars going through every light.
And I'm like, is it just me? Is it because I look like this?
Uh-huh.
Is that why?
Oh yeah, get yourself the high and tight, shave the beard, put a little dress shirt on, and see what happens. I don't know.
Probably the same
As
thing.
an experiment, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
So what's
It's pretty much just we were talking about scared and frightened.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. I try not to have fear really at all, because you don't really need it. I mean, if something is going to hurt you or whatever you're afraid of, if it's going to do that to you, you can be aware of that before it happens. Like most people, most things that you're afraid of don't just I don't know how to put it. Like fear is unnecessary to me. It's an unnecessary emotion. I choose not to feel it most often, because why?
Mm-hmm.
Why feel fear?
Because it can help pop you out of a situation. But you're saying that you can just be aware.
Yeah, if you're aware of the situation. I mean, a lot of fears based on like previous experiences and previous thought patterns that you had about this or that situation. It's like every moment that you're in is a different situation. It's a new situation. You can't base it on you can base your intelligence on previous situations. Like I know how this turned out, so if this this might turn out this way, this has a possibility of turning out that way. As long as you're aware of it, you know that it could happen like whatever ways that you've already experienced.
So you're saying that there's a difference between fear and awareness.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's definite. What do you mean?
I've never really thought about that. Like you can look at a situation that's potentially really dangerous, and not necessarily feel fear about walking in there.
Yeah.
But you can just be aware without feeling the fear. That sounds weird to me. It's like I can't imagine walking into a dangerous situation and just being aware of the potential disastrous outcomes. I would just feel fear.
That's something you need to get over, I guess.
Interesting.
Because fear is unnecessary.
It's not part of survival.
No, not at all. I don't think fear is part of survival at all.
So we're talking here about fear versus awareness.
Yeah.
What would another word for that be? Like instead of fear.
Nothing. What do you mean?
I don't know. Awareness.
I guess.
I can't think of another word for it. I mean, it almost sounds like, I don't know, you have, like, if you don't feel emotions, you're a psychopath.
Yeah.
People that don't get upset or don't get happy or don't get sad, that's that thing.
Yeah.
But that's not you.
No, I
feel
definitely
happy and sad. But
I
the
definitely
fear,
feel sad a lot and happy, and I
Right.
know those are.
But the fear thing, you've got conquered, or it doesn't compute for you, or
Doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I guess I was afraid at times in my life. There are certain times that I've been afraid, but I've just come to the conclusion that it's not needed. Fear is not needed at all. Like, it's one of those. Maybe it could be like one of those man-made emotions that we've just gotten used to and gotten accustomed to, and we think that it's normal now, when it's really not.
So let's talk a little bit about, you had a time in your life where you had a touch of that mindset, of that fear, that was maybe a little shade of schizophrenia or paranoid schizophrenia.
Oh, yeah.
You said it came on when you were 21, just like it does for everybody, and it was, describe that a little for me.
I had the feeling, I don't know, I think it started whenever, it could have been onset by psychedelics, but I'm not sure.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. And
well, I've heard that you're, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was listening to the radio the other day, and one of these experts, was like, it doesn't cause schizophrenia.
Yeah.
If schizophrenia was already gonna happen, it can snap it in.
I'm thinking that's pretty much what it was, because I also remember a time whenever I was like 16 or 17. Actually, I lived with my mom for like a year out in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I was living with her, and I was in this job. I was working at this place that it was kind of like a hot dog stand out in front of a Lowe's, but it was like its own building. It was enclosed, and I sat in there, and sometimes I would sit in there for like an hour or so, and nobody come in, no customers. And I remember sitting there one time just yelling in my head, like I could hear just like shouts and screams coming out, and it's just like, wow, like just crazy. I was like, wow, what is this? What is this? What am I doing? Like, why am I so angry, so aggravated? Like, why are all these screams happening in my head? Like, why? And didn't really think much about it. And that was also a time where I was a lot less aware of everything, and it was just confusing. I don't know.
And you're more aware and less confused today than you were at that time because you just matured?
I guess that could be it. But I mean, I don't know. I'm as confused as ever about everything. But I mean, yeah. I mean that could have been it, or that could have been a sign that I was starting to. But yeah, whenever I started taking a lot of psychedelics, whenever I was about 18, 19, I was taking mushrooms, and yeah, I would go into the bathroom and just sit there and stare off into the mirror and hear like different. I would hear my friend out in the living room saying things when nobody else was out there, and like I'd hear him talking or just mumbling. Like I couldn't really hear any real talk or anything like that. I just heard mumbling and was like, "Oh, is he talking about me? Why?"
Talking bad?
Yeah, talking bad about me or something like that. And then I don't know. I would just dismiss it because I know like, oh well, it doesn't matter, and then go out there and just be normal again.
But you had this kind of consistently for a while.
Oh yeah, I had
for
it
a couple
like,
years.
Yeah, a few years. And then I just had a revelation where it was like, oh, it doesn't matter. Pretty much, it doesn't really matter what's going to happen is going to happen. Pretty much.
If they're out there talking bad talk, don't get upset about it because it's just happening and it's going to happen.
Yeah, if they're really out there, talking bad about me, then and they're really going through this much trouble to keep it from me, to you know, to make me think that they're my friends, whatever. Like, if it's really, you know, that crazy of a situation and I just can't see it normally, then whatever, I'll live in this, but I don't think it's that way. And
so you made a kind of a psychological decision or an intellectual decision to like let go of that.
Yeah.
And then did the voices go away?
Well, it wasn't.
Or lessen?
See, that's the thing, though. It was actual, like, the voices that I heard most of the time, like, a couple of times whenever I was on psychedelics, I would hear, you know, phantom voices that weren't actually there. But throughout everyday life, the voices that I heard were real. I heard real people talking, you know, in the other rooms about whatever it is they were talking about.
But you just put the negative spin
I put the negative spin on it.
Okay.
All I did was I took it and was like, I don't know what they're saying, so it must be bad about me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were able to undo that mechanism on your own with your own revelation of one day. It just doesn't matter. And and so you kind of unwound that tension that you had in that direction.
Pretty much.
So do you still hear voices today?
No. I mean, I hear voices of people.
Well, I mean, phantom voices.
No, not really. I mean, I haven't done psychedelics in a while, and no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear any voices really.
So that's interesting.
Just my own voice.
So you kind of went down that road a little bit.
Thinking, yeah.
You kind of went down. Wow, 2 minutes left. Wow,
yeah.
This is Word on the Street, and we got 2 minutes left. So you went down that road into a paranoid situation and came back out, which is perhaps a little unusual because a lot of people go down that road and they can't back out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
They don't want to. I mean, I don't know. One of the biggest things that I want in life is truth. Like, I want to see truth. It's like I knew that wasn't the truth. I mean, I know the life that I'm living right now isn't the truth. Like, I know there's more out there than what I'm seeing, but I'm not letting, you know, something like that run my life. Like, I don't like it. I didn't like it, so I let it go.
Well, any message in your mind?
Change your mindset.
Change your mindset.
Yeah. There's that one song at the end of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Change your heart, it will astound you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Well, yeah, Lenny, it's been great talking with you.
Yeah.
We're out of time. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. This is Jason signing out from Word on the Street. Thanks for tuning in. If anybody did, down here at Minnesota Access Television, David on the controls back there. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next Saturday. Pastels on the plaza out there. Get outside, get off the couch. Everybody's drawing up a storm. Kids running, hot dogs flying. It's a good, beautiful day out there.
Good people everywhere.
You should not be watching TV right now. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next week.